Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. In this update, we're going to be updating on potential Tropical Storm Gamma as well as Tropical Storm Delta. So before I do get started, if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated. And also, I'm updating the winter forecast that I'll be putting out and releasing this weekend. So definitely stay tuned to that. So the purpose of this video is to update you on the potential tropical storm Gamma and Delta. If we take a look at the overall National Hurricane Center, they have upped the ante on their first storm by the Yucatan. Now they give it a 70% chance of a tropical storm development over the next several days. And then they also highlighted the feature that we've been talking about with Tropical Storm Delta potentially. Now they give it a 20% chance of it developing over the next 5 days. So I'm going to kind of walk you through the details and how that's actually going to occur. So if we take a look at the overall satellite picture of this morning, the outlook from the Weather Prediction Center, we have that cold front, that first cold front that came through the other day. Now that is stalled out by South Florida, and it's kind of creating that boundary, and that's where that central gyra, basically that formation of thunderstorms, is starting to come to fruition. But it's also kind of like, squeezing it, keeping it down there, and again, it's a slow development, but it's festering and slowly developing. Now, if we expand the view and take it all the way through Saturday, we have that secondary front that moved through. That's also going to stall out in the Gulf of Mexico. And tropical storm development is notorious about forming on the southwest side of a boundary, or a cold front in the Gulf. It can spin up a low pressure, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So with this storm, I don't expect Gamma to be a big storm or anything like that, but it doesn't have to be big to have a lot of impacts. And the way it's going to be, a slow mover, kind of like Beta was, a lot of the impacts are going to be well away from the center. So don't get so concentrated on where the actual center is going to go, because it's going to stretch. And where the major impacts are going to be is in Florida, in South Florida, where it's going to be stretched out, because a lot of the development is well away from the actual low pressure and where it's firing up. So as part of the United States, the area that's going to be impacted from this storm is going to be Florida, even though the center might actually be more into the Yucatan Peninsula. If we take a look at the overall satellite picture this morning, we can see a formidable hurricane really getting its act together with Hurricane Maria. It's now a 90-mile-per-hour hurricane, but this is really going to explode into rapid intensification today and probably be a Cat 4 later on. But luckily, this is just a fish storm. It'll be heading out to sea. But I'll show you later on in the period, this storm actually might gonna swing up, and if it gets caught in that jet stream, by about 10 days from now, it could bring some beneficial rain to California. So that's definitely something I'm looking out for a benefit that's going to actually maybe come out of Maria. But if we zoom in the picture, you can see these are the two areas to watch. Here's the formation of the boundary from the cold front. But here's actually the development of the concern of 70% chance of could be Maria right down here in Central America. And this is going to be swinging up over the next several days and combined with this cold front. And that's when I eventually think it's going to be able to form a name into Tropical Storm Gamma. And then if we expand the view down further into the MDR region, this is the secondary area concern that's probably going to be Delta later on in the period, that'll be swinging westward and eventually getting into the Caribbean and possibly into the Gulf in about a week or so. So I'm definitely looking at that as well. But if we take a look at the overall EPS probability guidance, it's got that Gamma storm, a pretty high probability it's going to get named. Like I said, I'm not really expecting as far as like higher winds with this storm. I'm only expecting a tropical storm with this storm, because you see Beta was only a 45-mile-per-hour tropical storm, but it had a lot of impacts well away from the center. Not only did it dump a lot of rain into Houston and Galveston area, but it dumped a lot of rain into Louisiana and all along the southeast coast. So, but that was a different formation. Here, it's going to be well down here. So the only place is going to be impacted as far as the United States is Florida. The rest of the impact is going to be well over Mexico into the Yucatan Peninsula. If you've got plans going into Cancun, a lot of you are reaching out. Hey, I've got plans, Cancun, Isla Mujeres. That's just going to be, this is a slow mover and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So this area is going to be impacted over the next week or so with this, as well as Delta. And this, a lot of the energy could actually get branched off into the Bay of Campeche down into Mexico and fuster around into there as well. So the impacts will be into Florida as well as the Yucatan Peninsula, into Cuba. All this area right here is going to be impacted from Tropical Storm Gamma. And if we expand the view even into the middle of next week, like I said, this is not really going anywhere anytime soon, dumping a lot of rain over an extended period of time into Mexico, into Florida, and eventually probably getting into the Bay of Campeche, and probably just eventually just kind of fizzle out. But the damage will be done by then, and dumping a lot of rainfall over the next 7 days. You can kind of see that from the National Hurricane Center, the Weather Prediction Center, dumping a lot of rainfall into South Florida from this region, anywhere from basically Central Florida down southward, and obviously well into Mexico. But from Gamma, the only impacts as far as the United States is concerned is into Florida. Now, if we kind of expand the view and take a look at the overall big picture of these two storms and how they're going to come to fruition, here is by Sunday. Here is basically Hurricane Maria getting possibly starting the effects, getting pulled up into the jet stream. Here is the precipitation water imagery from Gamma, what it may look like by Saturday night. And this is about as far north I think it's actually probably going to get, even though the center may be well down here. A lot of the flare-up development is going to be well away from the center. So, but with the front, it'll actually help push it down in kind of a squeeze play, and this will squeeze the overall center of the storm, but where it's going to develop well down to the south. But like I said, the impacts are going to be spread out well into South Florida, and eventually getting into Mexico and down into the Bay of Campeche, and eventually this storm by the following week will probably going to kind of feed itself out, kind of just fizzle itself out over Mexico, and eventually probably interconnecting, making a crossover effect into the Eastern Pacific. But by that time, the name of the game will be Delta. By the following week, we'll be watching that storm, like I showed you right now, that it has a 20% chance by next Friday. This is going to be crossing into the Caribbean, potentially going into the Gulf of Mexico. And it's got a formidable storm with this one. We won't be having, cold fronts to be dealing with to impact it and push it south. So I do think the natural progression from this storm will be lifting it further northward. And this could, again, impact Florida into the southeast, and eventually possibly maybe crossing over and riding up the East Coast. So depends on how the fronts play out by then. But we'll have to see how that plays out. But by next Saturday, this could really start to get its act together and come a formidable storm in the Gulf of Mexico. So this is definitely, I'm going to have to keep my eye on over the next several days into a week with this storm, as climatologically speaking, this would favor a push northward and eventually northeast, affecting the eastern United States into Florida, possibly into the northeast. But like I said, if we expand the view all the way 10 to 12 days from now, we can kind of look at the overall bigger picture, as this possibly could cross over from Florida and eventually possibly right up the East Coast. We'll have to see how these fronts play out by then and where the high pressure is, but see how close it's able to be by land and having any impact whatsoever. It's just going to push out to sea by then. But you can see even if we expand the view, the MDR region is still active. So we're still watching tropical waves come off the coast of Africa. And if we look at the overall rainfall over the next 2 weeks, it shows basically the major player in town is Florida, with the combination of Gamba and Delta bringing a lot of rain into the state, unfortunately. So if you got plans in Florida, if you got plans in the Yucatan Peninsula into Cuba, you're going to be dealing with a lot of rain over the next 2 weeks. And even then, with this abundant amount of rain showing up off the African coast, off the MDR region, we could be dealing with at least another tropical wave potentially by the middle of the month. So yeah, it's still going to be pretty active from October. We still got 60 days left in the hurricane season. So definitely, if you found value in this video, please like it, leave your comments below, and catch me in the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.